Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Steel Division 2 Tribute to Normandy 44 preview video, this time for 91st Luftlande Division, the first division I ever played in Steel Division, and still to this day one of my favorites. A really interesting design, uh, based on the Luftlande system, which was supposed to be air transported into pockets cleared out by Fallschirmjägers in real life, though obviously Germany had no air superiority anywhere in the world anymore when 1944 came around, so they were just used as defensive forces, as defensive infantry, and they have a pretty interesting mix in the game as well. So let's jump in here, and let's start, as always, in the Recon tab, and the attachment of Fallschirmjägers here already comes into play. As you can see, Fallschirmjäger Spähtruppe, Fallschirmjäger Aufklärers, all in pretty standard transport. Fusiliers, the classic 9-man squad here, with GMG 34, pretty standard. Mediocre availability with the veteran C here. Fallschirmjäger Scharfschützen, obviously not as strong anymore. A good sniper, but nowadays pretty outmatched. There's way better 25-point sniper squads out there nowadays. So it's heavily power crept. And the Fallschirmjäger Panzerabwehr, which has a Panzerschreck. If you want to have that in a recon squad, it's a pretty solid unit. You might want to keep it on return fire, because on the mid-range, its firepower is okay, but not amazing for a 35-point squad. It really is there for being a beefy recon squad that also can hit some enemy tanks with a Panzerschreck, and then there it is quite okay. Your slots here, 3 pretty decent ones. I don't believe you ever take the 4th, but the 3 first slots get you decent enough recon here with okay options. Nothing really fancy here. Infantry tab is an interesting one. You have special Luftlande units here, and Fallschirmjägers and a couple of other units. Fallschirmjäger Führer Ulik coming around as a classic FG Führer with G43 and MP40. So not a good one, but it's a cheap one. 20-point leader. That's nice. Your availability is standard one as well, 3 and 6. And then you have your first unit here, which is just a classic Grenadier with Panzerfaust, but with Luftlande skin here. Luftlande Schützen. Really standard unit here. Really classic availability as well. Same as Grenadier Panzerfaust as well. So standard unit there. Just a reskin basically. Pioneer Führer has the TNT, is 20 points. So 2 solid 20-point leaders here. Sturm Pioneers, standard as well. Decent unit. It comes with veterancy, but outside of that, nothing really special about this unit. Fallschirmjäger Pioneers, now 25 points. But they also lost a lot of their firepower. They are now a relatively standard Pioneer squad with more hit points. Like, they're basically a copy of the normal Pioneer squad with 2 extra hit points, which is good. 12 hit point TNT unit is nice, because in fights versus other TNT units, they survive 1 hit, whereas the others might not. And they have a bit of extra firepower, though not extra CQC firepower. So the 2 extra carbines don't really matter here. Carabiner 98k, not of the biggest importance there. The Luftlande Schützenführer being a decent one as well. 4 hit points, MG34 and smoke, but you usually don't want to use your leaders for much fire support, so paying the extra 5 points compared to the other 2, I don't believe is worth it. The smoke is nice, but I'd rather take the Pioneer Führer or the Fallschirmjäger Führer here instead. The Fallschirmjäger Pioneer really having changed a lot since the DPS powerhouse that they were back with more MGs and more G43s and so on. But yeah, normal Pioneers, not really a reason to take these now. Same price. The availability is the same as well, so only if you run out of Pioneers, you're gonna take these. As you can see, they're just flat out worse. Fallschirm Pioneers also have the radar trait, so they're just a lot better. So good unit here, if you see the comparison, but you only get 1 card. Luftlande Schützen, currently also not that amazing. It's a 30-point double MG squad with 9 strength. It's not MG42s. You get good availability for them at the moment, but there's no real strength compared to like Panzer Grenadiers or anything like that. Like, they're an MG34 Panzer Grenadier with 1 less man. An MG34 Panzer Grenadiers already ain't amazing. So it's really a relatively underpowered, cost efficiency-wise unit. The availability is good though. With 1 vet and no vet, that is. 2 vet, they go down, and so you can't get the DPS as high. But on 1 vet and 0 vet, it's okay availability, though at the moment that's really not the greatest stats. If they might change, I would be more for a 25-point unit with lower availability or something like that. We're gonna see what happens with them. Maybe if this division gets some buff in the future, I would say this is the first unit to tackle in that regard. Maybe give them a third MG34 or something interesting, but at the moment it's not a great unit. The Fallschirmjäger FG42 is the OG double FG42 Fallschirmjäger here, 35 points, good unit. Really a lot of firepower. G43's classic availability as well, which is decent. But yeah, you get 2 cars of those. I would always prefer them over the Luftlandeschützen. They have just so much more firepower, and they have a Panzerfaust and a man more for 5 points. Like the night and day difference here at the moment. I don't see a reason to take the Luftlandeschützen. And then you have the Fallschirmjäger ZF, which is a 40-point Fallschirmjäger squadron with a sniper rifle. But no FG42s. They have a MP40. That doesn't really matter though. So at the moment, in weird unit with the nerf to snipers also not as strong as they would have been otherwise. Still a pretty good firepower unit, and maybe a bit better than the Fallschirmjäger 42, especially as they have a bit more range. So that's not terrible, but Fallschirmjäger FG42 take it still for me for the most part, as they're on the mid range. They have just a lot of firepower there. So interesting infantry slot when it comes just to the Fallschirmjägers, and then the rest is relatively standard. This new special Fallschirmjäger here is interesting, but yeah, Luftlandeschützen, just a weaker Panzergrenadier, MG34, Luftlandeschützen Panzerfaust, pretty standard as well, so nothing really to blow your mind away in the infantry tab, unfortunately. But it's still an okay one. Like, it has pretty solid unit, though it won't be over the top in that regard. Tank tab, pretty interesting. You get a lot of these French small vehicles. Panzer 39 with decent availability. You get a lot of 35Rs. And then you get Stokes, which only come from B phase onwards though. So in A phase you're down to Panzer 3H and B2s as your best tanks here. And then you get Stokes later, but you also can't even afford the Stokes too much next to the other tanks. So the tank tab, a tough one to fill. It was kind of similar in Normandy 44. I always kind of enjoyed this. It's gonna be interesting play with that. It's not gonna be super strong though. Like, none of these tanks are great. Stokes are decent. The others are super cheap, which is nice, but they're also having abysmal penetration, as you can see here. 30 penetration. For 10 points though, decent fire support tool, I guess. It has an HE shell, though it's a terrible HE shell, and an MG, but it's better than half track in that regard. It's abysmally slow as well though. 20 road speed is really, really horrendous. So maybe rather take this guy, which at least can penetrate a couple of things out there, but it's not the greatest guy either. Support, you get some LG42s, which are always quite nice to have. You get some decent MGs as well, and then 2 tank leaders, which is interesting in the infantry division. Did you get those 2 leaders? And yeah, flamethrowers and Feldgendarmerie. Nothing super special here either though. Anti-tank, you get the Gehrlich, which is pretty good in penetration, pretty bad in damage, pretty bad in range, which makes it somewhat hard to use. No Pak 38, which is a big weakness. And then Pak 43's 2 cards and a Pak 40, so you at least don't have a penetration issue here, but having a Pak 38 would have been nice. The Fallschirmjäger Panzerschreck just outright better than a normal Panzerschreck. There's no real reason to take the other guy because, yeah, even the availability is same, and these guys have radar, so just take these guys. Anti-air is okay. You get the repurposed Russian gun here. That is also made into an 88mm, which always is okay. Decent AA and decent AP for its price. It's a decent weapon, and the other AA pieces are not great, but serviceable as well. So an okay AA tab, but no flak feelings, no mobile AA. Not a great one either. Artillery is pretty good. Get some interesting stuff here. You get some mortars with radio, but they only have 1,800 meter range. The Fallschirmjäger Granatwerfer. So that's interesting payoff towards the normal mortars, which are 5 points more expensive, but they have a lot more range, but no radio. So I feel like the radio mortars might be really interesting to play with. Then you get the Gebirgshaubitze, radio as well there. 120mm mortars with radio, which are just already better than the other ones, but 5 points more expensive. And then a good couple of Soviet guns here with radio as well, the A19 and the ML20 here repurposed for the Germans. Decent weapons, especially with radio. They can be somewhat deadly, but they're not super OP either. And though, yeah, artillery here, okay, good availability as well. And then you get Nebelwerfer 42s with 300mm, 2 cards, so that's good. And you get some multi-ammunitions for all of this as well. You get off map, and you get a Wurfrahmen, though this one comes with 2 availability in B, but only 4 rockets. So it's rather inconsistent if it's gonna hit or not. It's just a bit painful. But it's a 28mm Wurfrahmen, and you get 2 per card, so I guess if you use both at the same time, they can be decent, but then it's also pretty pricey. Air tab is a mediocre one as well. You get some BF109 G6, some J88 S1s, some Focke-Wulf 190s in decent configurations, though this one has bad resilience, the G3R1. It doesn't have the extra armor plating, and that means it's not a great fighter. Can't really take head-ons. It doesn't have that much firepower even. Well, firepower it has, actually. It has the twin 20 mils here. So yeah, it has 6 20 mils. So firepower actually it has, but if it would have medium resilience, it would be a beast in head-ons. This way it's gonna die a lot in head-ons as well, or 2 AA fire. And it's also pretty slow, which is not great. Like, it's slower than the BF109 G6 here, and that's not great for Focke-Wulf. So yeah, even the fighter bomber is not much slower. It's a decent fighter bomber version here, but also bad resilience. And the J88 version here with 2 500 kilogram bombs, pretty good in B phase. Always take these guys in B phase where they come with 4 availability. They're really good, but your slots are pretty limited, so you can't air spam with them, but you at least have enough bombers to use. So in general, one of the least exciting divisions in Steel Division 2, which I find a bit unfortunate. The feeling of them with the face lock is still here from Normandy. The infantry tab with the slightly more affordable mix with Fallschirmjägers was really cool in Normandy, but by now we have so many Fallschirmjäger divisions that do that it's not really something special anymore. I guess that's the curse of having so much choice in Steel Division 2. And yeah, the other things are all a bit weak. It's still a nice flavor division, but unfortunately it won't make headway in 1v1, though I guess we have enough other divisions out of the 14 that do that. So with that said, guys, thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the next one, and leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you want to help out the channel. Bye bye, and have a great day.